Hello, welcome back students. Now, we will finish chapter 30. We will review chapter 21 to 29. Okay, let's get start. Exercise 1. In this exercise, you are expected to answer the following negative questions with a negative or an affirmative short answer. We give you examples.
Wasn't George Washington born in the 19th century?
No, he wasn't.
Isn't her hat unusual?
Yes, it is.
Can't you take the examination tomorrow?
No, I can't.
Okay, it is your turn doing exercise. You can pause your video while answering the questions. Exercise 2. To review tag questions, repeat the following statements and add a tag question. Add a negative question if the statement is affirmative, and add an affirmative question if the statement is negative. Example 1. He isn't sick. He isn't sick, is he? Example 2. They answered all of the questions. They answered all of the questions, didn't they? Example 3. They could have taken a later bus. They could have taken a later bus, couldn't they? Now, it is your turn doing exercise. You can pause your video while answering the questions. Exercise 3. To review tag questions, convert the following questions into statements with tag questions. Produce two forms of the tag question. Example 1. Is John sick? John is sick, isn't he? John isn't sick, is he? Example 2. Have they answered your letter? They have answered your letter, haven't they? They haven't answered your letter, have they? Example 3. Has he offered to buy the book? He has offered to buy the book, hasn't he? He hasn't offered to buy the book, has he? Now, it is your turn doing exercise. You can pause your video while answering the questions. Exercise 4. To review short answers to questions with could have, should have been, will, etc. Produce a negative or affirmative short answer to the following questions. Examples.
Should I have written a letter?
Yes, you should have.
Won't you have another piece of pie?
Yes, I will.
Could you have lost the pencil on the way to school?
No, I couldn't have. Now, it is your turn doing exercise. You can pause your video while answering the questions. Exercise 5. To review adjectives, good, white, etc., as complements. First, you substitute the following words, then, include the adjective after the noun. They wash the clothes clean, table. They wash the table clean, painted white. They painted the table white, blue. They painted the table blue. Now, it is your turn doing exercise. You can pause your video while answering the questions. Exercise 6. To review, informs. First, listen to the statements, then, combine the information, so that the second verb ends in ing. Examples, we saw John. He was walking to school, we saw John walking to school. They met Mary. She was hurrying to the concert, they met Mary hurrying to the concert. I found my watch. It was lying in the street, I found my watch lying in the street. Now, it is your turn doing exercise. You can pause your video while answering the questions.
Exercise 7. To review reflexive pronouns, you should answer the questions by using a reflexive pronoun. Examples. Who did John see in the mirror? John saw himself in the mirror. Who did the students correct? They corrected themselves. Now, it is your turn doing exercise. You can pause your video while answering the questions. Exercise 8. Exercise 8 is about to review self-words, to emphasize the subject. First, you substitute the following words, and then, you make the necessary changes in correlation. Examples. We talked to John ourselves. Saw. We saw John ourselves. Him. We saw him ourselves. I saw him myself. The book. I saw the book myself. Now, it is your turn doing exercise. You can pause your video while answering the questions. Exercise 9. To review verb expressions, in subject position, make statements with verb expressions, in as the subject. We provide examples for you.
John has the bad habit of wasting time.
Wasting time is a bad habit.
Mary disturbs the teacher by talking in class.
Talking in class disturbs the teacher.
We work hard when we study.
Studying is hard work.
Now, it is your turn doing exercise. You can pause your video while answering the questions. Exercise 10. To review, where to play, how to go, etc., substitute the following words. Examples. I taught John how to play football. Showed. I showed John how to play football. Him. I showed him how to play football. Where. I showed him where to play football. Tennis. I showed him where to play tennis. Practice. I showed him where to practice tennis. Now, it is your turn doing exercise. You can pause your video while answering the questions. Exercise 11. To review, wish, with situations, in present time. Please listen to the situation, in present time. Example. Make a wish.
John is sick. I wish he was well. They make a lot of noise. I wish they made less noise.
Jane works slowly. I wish Jane worked faster. Now, it is your turn, doing exercise. You can pause your video while answering the questions. Exercise 12. To review, wish, with situations in past time, listen to the situations in past time. Examples. John didn't eat much yesterday. I wish he had eaten more.
I studied 1 hour each day last semester. I wish I had studied 2 hours each day. They nominated Jack for president. I wish they had nominated Peter.
Now, it is your turn, doing exercise. You can pause your video while answering the questions.
Exercise 13. In this chapter, we review must, should, etc., plus have, plus past participle. Listen to the situations, in past time, and the words, which follow them. Produce comments, which explain, or elaborate the situation. Use must, might, could, should, plus have, plus past participle. Examples. I worked until 10 o'clock yesterday, could have. I could have worked until 12. When I saw Mary, she was crying, must have. She must have gotten some bad news. John waited until yesterday to register, should have. He should have registered a week ago. He didn't come to the musical program last night, might have. He might have been sick. Now, it is your turn, doing exercise. You can pause your video while answering the questions. Exercise 14. To review, must, should, etc., plus have been, plus the ing form. Listen to the situations, in past time, and the words, which follow them. Answer the questions using must, should, etc., plus have been, plus the ing form.
I didn't see John at the party last night. What might he have been doing?
He might have been studying.
Fred says that he didn't hear the telephone ring last night. What could he have been doing?
He could have been sleeping. He was at the movie yesterday afternoon. What should he have been doing?
He should have been attending class.
Paul's clothes are all wet. What must he have been doing?
He must have been walking in the rain.
Now, it is your turn, doing exercise. You can pause your video while answering the questions. Exercise 15. To review verbs, not followed by to. Listen to the statements, and combine them. In some cases, the second verb isn't preceded by to, but in other cases it is.
I heard Fred. He talked about politics. I heard Fred talk about politics.
I selected John. He went. I selected John to go.
We saw Mary. She bought a hat. We saw Mary buy a hat.
Now, it is your turn, doing exercise. You can pause your video while answering the questions. Exercise 16. To review verbs, followed by an ing form. Make statements that contain two verbs. The second verb will be either an ing form or an infinitive with two. Examples: I enjoyed. I watched the movie. I enjoyed watching the movie. I forgot. I didn't write to John. I forgot to write to John. Fred continued. He was walking to town. Fred continued walking to town. Now, it is your turn, doing exercise. You can pause your video while answering the questions. Exercise 17. To review verbs, with ing, with to, and without to, substitute the following verbs. Examples: I wanted him to buy a car. Had. I had him buy a car. Remembered. I remembered him buying a car. Asked. I asked him to buy a car. Now, it is your turn, doing exercise. You can pause your video while answering the questions. Exercise 18. To review, can, could, etc., in statements with if. Listen to the situations. Expand the statements given with an if clause. Examples. John is probably going to Detroit tomorrow. He is not going to New York. I want to go to Detroit. I want to go to New York.
I will go with John. I will go with John if he goes to Detroit. I would go with him. I would go with him if he went to New York. I can go with him. I can go with him if he goes to Detroit. I could go with him. I could go with him if he went to New York.
I might go with him. I might go with him if he goes to Detroit. I might go with him. I might go with him if he went to New York. I expect to go with him. I expect to go with him if he goes to Detroit. I expected to go with him. I expected to go with him if he went to New York. Now, it is your turn, doing exercise. You can pause your video while answering the questions.
Exercise 19. To review, would have, might have, could have, in statements connected with if. Listen to the improbable situations. Change the present time statements into equivalent past time statements.
Examples. I would write, if I knew his address. I would have written, if I had known his address. I might go to Detroit with John, if he went by train. I might have gone to Detroit with John, if he had gone by train.
The director could see you, if you waited. The director could have seen you, if you had waited. Now, it is your turn, doing exercise. You can pause your video while answering the questions. Exercise 20. To review the subordinators, if, unless, whenever, although, because, whether or not. You should listen to the statement, and the subordinator which follows. Repeat the statement, and use the subordinator to add another statement.
Examples. He writes poetry, although. He writes poetry, although he never went to college. He writes poetry, whenever. He writes poetry, whenever he feels inspired.
We will go on a picnic this afternoon, whether or not. We will go on a picnic this afternoon, whether or not it rains. They won't go to the picnic, unless. They won't go to the picnic, unless someone takes them. Now, it is your turn, doing exercise. You can pause your video while answering the questions. Exercise 21. To review the use of, because of, and because. Answer the following questions. Use the nouns, which follow the question, in your answer.
Why is he going to the doctor?
He is going to the doctor because of his cold.
He is going to the doctor because he has a cold.
Why is the teacher angry?
The teacher is angry because of John.
The teacher is angry because John was talking in class.
Now, it is your turn, doing exercise. You can pause your video while answering the questions. Exercise 22. To review, so that, and, such that. Listen to the statements. Compare them with, so that, and, such that.
Examples. His talk was interesting. We listened for an hour. His talk was so interesting that we listened for an hour. He gave such an interesting talk that we listened for an hour.
The problem was easy. Everybody got the answer. The problem was so easy that everybody got the answer. It was such an easy problem that everybody got the answer. Now, it is your turn, doing exercise. You can pause your video while answering the questions. Well done, students.
We proud of you.
Please keep practicing.
See you again. Bye.
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 Bye.